So we had the opportunity to be a part of the beta group for the first book, Play to Their Strengths, and we had the assessment to kind of determine the strengths of our kids, and that was fascinating because our kids are very different. One is very, how would you describe Kira?
She's a go-getter.
She is a go-getter. She's a leader.
Her soccer team, her nickname was the Bulldozer.
And
Need we say more?
Very much
Yeah.
lives up to that. So we had the opportunity to dive more into her strengths. And then our son is the complete opposite. More quiet, reserved, more like me, I would say.
Yeah.
Very empathetic, and it was fascinating to see that and to tailor our parenting to enhance that and support that, because the last thing we want to do is squash, particularly our daughter's leadership ability. It can be challenging at times. We need to focus it in the right manners sometimes, but it's also going to set her up really well in the future. So with that, we look forward to the incredible parent assessment.
Yeah, and I had the privilege of being in the beta group as well for the incredible parenting assessment. And one of the things I remember when Kira was in the beta group for when we were going through just kind of evaluating her strengths, it really did open up her eyes. These were things that we saw, and I'm in the space of strengths. I work in that, and I work at 34 Strong. And the fascinating part, though, is when your kid's pushing your buttons, you have to remind yourself, these are really good leadership talents that are here. They're in their raw form. So the big awakening for me, and again, I work in the space every single day, and I need that reminder, because when you're getting that blasted with that all the time, where there's constantly the pushback and there's the lines and there's this willingness to just go past the lines,
Yes.
We've had to remind ourselves, what's this going to look like 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when those talents have gone from raw to a much more mature state and they've been calibrated. And she's learned how to aim that. So we've realized, like, I think Michelangelo was asked once about the statue of David. How is it, Michelangelo, that you carved the statue of David out of that stone? How did you do it? Michelangelo's response was so profound. He said, David lived within that stone. I just had to reveal it. And when we can remind ourselves that with our children, that's exactly who they are. We're helping them to reveal their own brilliance, and they're discovering that, and they're working to get out of that so we can share their talents with the world or help them reveal that. We've got to think of what are we going to do that's going to build those talents up so they can be used in a very, very impactful way in the future, and what are the things that we're going to do to cut them down. So when I was in the beta group with for the parenting side of the assessment, it was really powerful to just reveal some of the elements, and I know the assessment has evolved subsequently. It has taken us to a place to just have that awareness for where we start as a parent. How is it that we're naturally going to show up? And sometimes you might find the way that your kid shows up and the way that you show up, you're trying to show up here, there's a little bit of a disconnect. But what having that awareness does can move us from self-awareness of where we're at and self-awareness of where our kid starts to how do we get in alignment so we can become team-aware or family-aware so that we can really harness the greatness in our children and in ourselves as parents.